Now, this is a tutorial again on generative AI, and this is the second part of the generative AI. So, here we are going to discuss with the Dell E, ChatGPT, and Bard. ChatGPT, Dell E, and Bard are popular generative AI interfaces. Dell E trained on a large data set of images and their associated text descriptions. Dell E is an example of a multimodal AI application that identifies connections across multiple media such as vision, text, and audio. In this case, it connects the meaning of words to visual elements. It was built using OpenAI's GPT implementation in 2021. Dell E2, a second more capable version, was released in 2022. It enables users to generate imagery in multiple styles driven by user prompts. ChatGPT, the AI-powered chatbot that took the world by storm in November 22, was built in OpenAI's ChatGPT 3.5 implementation. OpenAI was provided a way of interact and fine-tune text responses via a chat interface with interactive feedback. Earlier versions of GPT were only accessible via an API. GPT-4 was released on March 14, 2023. GPT incorporates the history of its conversation with the user into its results, simulating a real conversation. After the incredible popularity of new GPT interface, Microsoft announced a significant new investment into OpenAI and integrated a version of GPT into its Bing search engine. Now let's try and understand the difference between the ChatGPT and Bard. Now, ChatGPT is accessible to OpenAI site. Service is free and there is a paid plan option, ChatGPT Plus. Based on GPT, generative pre-trained transformers are there, available to all. And answers questions from data based with information from 2021 and before. Built-in plagiarism checker, AI text classifier. And Bard has also some features accessible through Google Bard site using Google account. Service is free based on Palm 2 Pathways language model, available if selected of the waitlist. Answers questions based on real-time information from Google searches. No plagiarism detector in this time. Bard Google was another early leader in pioneering transformer AI technique for processing language, routines, and other types of content. It open sourced some of these models for researchers. However, it never released a public interface for these models. Microsoft's decision to implement GPT into Bing drove Google to rush a public facing chatbot, Google Bard, to market. Google suffered a significant loss in stock price following Bard's rushed debut after the language model incorrectly said the Webb telescope was the first to discover a planet in a foreign solar system. Meanwhile, Microsoft and ChatGPT implementations have also lost face in their early outings due to inaccurate results and erratic behavior. What are the use cases of generative AI? Now, generative AI can be applied in various use cases to generate virtually any kind of content. The technology is becoming more accessible to users of all kinds thanks to the cutting edge breakthrough like GPT. It can be tuned for a different applications. Some of the use cases of generative AI include the following: that is, implementing chatbots for user customer service, technical support, deploying deepfakes for mimicking people or even specific individuals, improving dubbing for movies and educational content in different languages, writing emails responses, dating profiles, resumes and term papers, creating photorealistic art in a particular style, improving product demonstration videos, suggesting new drug compounds to test, designing physical products and buildings, optimizing new chip design, writing music in a specific style or tone. Now, ChatGPT is a fourth generative pre-trained transformer. Benefits of generative AI is it can be applied extensively across many areas of the business. It can make it easier to interpret and understand existing content and automatically create new content. Developers are exploring ways that generative AI can improve existing workflows and eye to adapting workflows entirely to take advantage of the technology. Some benefits are mentioned here in this picture. So some of the potential benefits of implementing generative AI include the automating the manual process of writing content, reducing the effort of responding to emails, improving the response to specific technical queries, creating realistic questions or representations of people, summarizing complex information into coherent narrative, simplifying the process of creating content in a particular style. What are the limitations of generative AI? Early implementations of generative AI vividly illustrate its many limitations. Some of the challenges generative AI presents results from the specific approaches used to implement particular use cases. For example, summary of a complex topic is easier to read than an explanation that includes various sources supporting key points. The readability of the summary, however, comes at the expense of a user being able to vet where the information comes from. Here are some of the limitations to consider when implementing or using generative AI app. It does not always identify source of the content. It can be challenging to access the bias of original sources. Realistic sounding content makes it harder to identify inaccurate information. It can be difficult to understand how to tune for new circumstances. Results can gloss over bias, prejudice, and hatred. What are the concerns surrounding generative AI? The rise of generative AI is also fueling various concerns, and these relate to the quality of results, potential for misuse and abuse, and the potential to disrupt existing business model. Some of the points that mentioned as a challenge is for the people, the processes, and the technology. Here are some of the specific types of problematic issues posed by the current state of generative AI. It can provide inaccurate and misleading information. It is more difficult to trust without knowing the source of provenance of information. It can promote new kinds of plagiarism that ignore the rights of content creators and artists of original content. It might disrupt existing business model built around search engine optimization and advertising. Makes it easier to generate fake news. It makes it easier to claim that real photographic evidence of a wrongdoing was just an AI generated fake. It could impersonate people of more effective social engineering cyber attacks. What are some examples of generative AI tools? Generative AI tools exist for various modalities such as text, imagery, music, code, and voices. Some popular AI content generators to explore include the following, that is text generation tools like GPT, Jasper, AI Writer, and Lex. Image generation tools like DALL-E 2, Midjourney, and Stable Diffusion. Music generation tools include Amber, Data Bots, and MuseNet. Code generation tools include Code Starter, Codex, GitHub, Copilot, and Tab9. Voice synthesis tools include Descript, Listener, and Podcast AI. AI chip design tools Companies include Synopsys, Cadence, Google, and NVIDIA. Thank you.